Agrega. I am a 17-year-old activist. I'm from Mexico City, and today we're going to be talking with Hannah Testa. She's also a 17-year-old activist from Cumming, Georgia. She's the author of Taking on Plastic Crisis, the founder of Hannah for Change, which is a nonprofit organization focused on educating and also on creating policy. She has received a lot and countless honors and awards, including the Teen Earth Day Hero by CNN, the Young Superhero for Earth Award by Captain Planet, and many, many others. And she has also spoke in partnerships and also social media videos, and she is amazing. She has done a lot of things for this world, and her positive impact in this world is just amazing.
So. Oh, thank you. I'm so excited to be talking with you today.
Yeah, me too. It's such an honor, really. So, Hannah, would you like to talk to us a little bit of what you have done and like your favorite things all of the things that you have done?
Yeah, of course. So I've been an activist for around 10 years, and that's pretty crazy for me to say because it doesn't feel that long. And even from the beginning, I didn't really know what an activist was, but I was just doing what I was passionate about. And what really started my activism is I was learning how different animals were becoming endangered because of humans and because of hunting and poaching, destroying of habitat. And it broke my heart, and I knew I had to do something. And since then, I've been working on campaigns, partnering with other organizations to create different educational campaigns, collect petitions, do fundraisers for all different kinds of animal species. And through that, I started learning about environmental issues and how they connect to endangered animal species. So I started learning about climate change and plastic pollution. And I also started learning about veganism, which I know we're going to be talking about today. I've been a vegan for about 2 years, I believe. Yeah, 2 years. And it's been incredible so far. I've probably been vegetarian since I was 8 because I've always loved animals. And as I started learning more about what goes into the food we eat and all about animal agriculture, I knew that I didn't want to be a part of it anymore. So ever since, I've completely ditched meat, all dairy, and eggs.
Yeah. And how would you explain veganism for those who don't know? How would you make what's the difference between vegetarian and veganism eating?
So vegan is completely, or also a vegetarian. Being a vegetarian is you don't eat any meat. So no beef, chicken, pork. But when you're vegan, you don't eat any meat, but also no dairy and no eggs. So it's a small difference, but it makes a big impact as well. So that's kind of the dictionary definition of being vegan. But for me, I think just being vegan is showing love and compassion for all, including animal species.
Yeah, exactly. And would you say it's like a lifestyle, a diet, or how would you describe it in that way?
I think for everyone that is vegan, they title it something different. Some people just see it as a diet. Some people take it even further and make it a lifestyle and get rid of things like leather. They don't use anything. Make sure that they don't have any items that were tested on animals. So some people take it even further. I would say for me, it's a mixture of both. I try to be as vegan as possible when it's outside my diet. So trying to not own any leather or anything. So I'm trying to make sure I get rid of all of my stuff that did contribute to the harming of animals. But right now it's kind of just strictly my diet.
Yeah. Yeah, and sometimes it's a little bit difficult to go further if it's stuff that you already had. It's kind of difficult to just like completely get rid of it, because the suffering of that animal, it has been made. So like also getting rid of it, it's not really good, because I mean it's there, you know.
Yeah, I make sure I don't buy any new stuff that has leather or feathers or any animal testing. But yeah, it's the stuff I already have that I'm trying to phase out more out of my house.
Yeah. And why did you decided, I mean, how did you discover veganism, and why did you make that change?
When I was getting involved with animals and helping to protect like elephants and rhinos, I started working with organizations, one in particular called Animal Hero Kids, and it was a group of kids helping to save all different kinds of animals. And I was a co-president of that organization for several years, and some of the other co-presidents, a lot of them were vegan, and they focused on veganism a lot. That was kind of their main focus. And so I learned a lot from them about what being vegan meant. And that was never something I really knew about, especially here in Georgia. There isn't a ton of vegans. And they were really teaching me a lot about what it means to be vegan. And I attended an animal rights conference 2 years ago. And it was talking all about veganism and how bad animal agriculture is for your health, for the animals, but also just for the environment. And learning all those three topics really got to me. And I knew that, you know, something as simple as changing your diet could have such a huge impact. And so even from that moment, I was like, I want to try this. Like, I want to do as much as I can. And the very last night of the conference, we went to something called a pig vigil, which I didn't know what that was before. But what it is we went to a slaughterhouse for pigs in California, and we watched the trucks of the pigs come in. And instead, we weren't really protesting because we can't stop the trucks. We know that that was impossible. But instead, we give the pigs coming in water and love before they go into the slaughterhouse, because we know that they have been on these trucks for days, often without any water or food. And so it's just to give them that last bit of love, maybe even the only love they ever received, and water. And just seeing that firsthand, seeing, you know, the fear in their eyes, it really got to me. I've never had pig just because of my religion. I never ate pig, but it really it hurt to see these pigs in so much pain. And I knew that it wasn't just pigs, it was all animals that we use for agriculture. So I knew I didn't want to be a part of that anymore. So ever since then, I've completely become vegan, and it's been 2 years, and it's been incredible so far. I've gotten so much more involved in like cooking in my house, not just because of, you know, being vegan, but I've just been so much more interested in food and being able to create new things, especially with vegetables. I think a lot of times people think, you know, vegetables are disgusting, and they kind of are if you don't, you know, cook them correctly or put the right seasonings on it. So playing with food and figuring out how to make things taste good has been so much fun.
Yeah. And actually, now that you said that about the slaughterhouse, I remembered a quote. I can't remember who it is from, but it says, if slaughterhouses had glass walls,
Yeah.
nobody would eat meat. Everyone would be vegan. So yeah, I've never been to a slaughterhouse, but I can't imagine that the impact that it can.
And it was crazy because it just from the outside, it looked so scary. It was cement walls. It was so large. It probably had its own zip code. And they made it very clear that nobody could get in or get out. And there was a mural on the outside on the walls with pigs running around on a farm looking really happy. And but all of us knew that, that's not what's actually happening. They're not running around on happy farms. And it was really emotional. I broke down a lot that night, just sobbing. I think there was like 4 trucks. It was from like 11 p.m. to 2 a.m. So we were up all night. And it was a lot emotionally, but I think there was around 500 people there, and everyone was so sweet. Nobody knew each other, but people were going around. I was getting so many hugs from strangers just because everyone knew that this was a lot for everybody. And so people were giving hugs. Some were giving out vegan cookies just to make other people smile. And that just made me feel a lot better. And, the vegan community really welcomed me with open arms.
Oh, that's so great to hear. And well, talking about this and how hard it is, while going vegan, did you find it like difficult, and did you find like people telling you like this is bad for your health? Or I have encountered a lot of people telling me, like even professionals, doctors and family members telling me like going vegan is gonna affect your health.
Yeah.
And how do you deal with all these comments?
Yeah, I've definitely experienced that. And there's not many vegans here in Georgia. Georgia has a lot of meat. There's a lot of barbecue, kind of southern food here in Georgia. It's very meat and milk based. And so it was definitely hard at first, especially because I was still learning. I kind of became vegan almost overnight, and I was still figuring out, what good products there are, really how to cook vegan. It was kind of hard the first month figuring out, how to eat vegan. Now it's so much easier because now I know what I like, what I don't like, and still trying new recipes, and I know which things I enjoy making. But definitely at first it was a mess trying different products, different like vegan cheeses. It's really hit or miss. But especially with the comments, I think it was hard at first, especially with my peers at school. People definitely thought it was weird because I was definitely the only vegan at our school. My family was definitely, my immediate family, like my mom and dad, they were really supportive. But more of my extended family, they definitely didn't agree with me at first. And I think part of it is just culturally, there's a lot of meat in our diet. And even when I was vegetarian, they were shocked. But going fully vegan, they definitely didn't fully agree with it. I definitely had some like uncles that would make fun of me for it. And I kind of let it not get to me because I knew that I was right and I was doing everything that I can. And no matter what they would say, would make me eat meat again or go from not being vegan anymore. And they've all come around, which is great. They've all been able to try vegan food. A lot of them haven't actually had like vegan food before. Have been able to try it and see that, it actually tastes good. We don't eat grass every day. And they've, I think, learned a lot even from me, because a lot of times they ask questions or they start conversations about it, and they've learned a lot about, why I became vegan, and they've eventually come around, or even if they don't fully agree with it, they've at least stopped bugging me about it because they realize, whatever they say isn't going to get to me, and I'm not going to change, which is great. So even though I've definitely had some people, and I still get some people every now and then that think it's weird or might say some things about, oh, like how you get your protein. There's so many different things that you hear, but I just don't let it get to me. And sometimes I even let it be just a conversation starter, to say, yeah, like I am vegan and this is why, and just explain to them. And a lot of times I like to provide resources as well, because I think a lot of times people are negative about being vegan, just because they don't know at all what being vegan means besides not eating certain products. They don't understand the why behind it, which is the biggest thing. We're not vegan just because it's fun. And it is, but we are vegan just because of the why behind it. Um, and so once people start learning that, that's when you really start to see more sympathy, and more people kind of make that connection.
Yeah, exactly. And I love how you said we don't eat grass every day.
Yeah. I get a lot of questions about, what do you eat? Like, don't you eat like bird food? Or I get it all the time, like, where do you get your protein? Things like that. And a lot of times it's a little frustrating getting the same questions every time, people not understanding. But, like I said, it's a great way to start a conversation as to, this is what being vegan's about. Because a lot of people don't know other vegans, or don't really have that conversation or really do any research on veganism as a whole. Like, you might be the first vegan they've ever met. So it's sometimes a great way to at least open their mind a bit more to the world of veganism.
And what else? Do you remember, or do you have like an experience while being vegan that just you kind of how do I say it? I'm kind of forgetting my English.
No worries, you're all good.
But what would you say that it's an experience that you remember a lot while being vegan?
Ooh, that's a good question. I would say, I guess, I have many, and I'm trying to think of, I guess, one major one. I think definitely the moment I became vegan, like seeing the pigs was definitely a pivotal, major part of being vegan. Also, I went to a sanctuary in London with some other activists, vegan activists, and we got to see all these rescued animals that would have been used for meat or for dairy or eggs. And so being able to visit that sanctuary and see what we all think of a happy farm, we actually got to see it and see these animals living freely on this beautiful plot of land. And they just seemed so happy and content with life. And they weren't, viewed as like a material good. They were viewed as animals. They each had different personalities with different names. And it was just so great to spend a day there. And it was a great way, I guess, for all of us to refill our love jug. So we really got our momentum again, just to see that this is what we're fighting for. These are for these beautiful creatures. And there was one baby cow that was, I think, 2 weeks old. And it was so scared, but it was so sweet. And it was just the most adorable little thing. And I know that was all of our favorite animal at the farm, was seeing this little cow. But you could see how scared it was, especially being moved around a lot. But it was so cute, and that was our favorite part, I think, of the sanctuary, seeing that little baby cow.
Oh, how cute! Oh, and okay. So talking about favorite, what's your favorite vegan food? Like,
Ooh, that's a good question. It kind of varies. It depends. I guess probably my favorite like dessert is, I eat vegan cheesecake with my family like fairly often, which probably isn't that healthy, but that's kind of like our indulgent snack. Is we get like a vegan cheesecake that we love, because we've always loved cheesecake before we were vegan, and I think that was something that we were scared of giving up going vegan, but we found like a great vegan cheesecake from Daya, and so we eat that fairly often, just because it tastes just like the real thing. So I think a lot of people don't understand that when you're vegan, you're not really missing out on anything, which I think I was scared of, and I know my family was scared of, because there are so many vegan options of everything. So all of my favorite foods I had before, there's a vegan version of it, or I can make a vegan version of it. Like my family, we just made cinnamon rolls a few days ago, and they were so good. And I know our family really enjoyed making those together. So those are probably, the cheesecake's probably my favorite, but any of my favorite foods that I had before, I can still have.
Yeah, exactly. And I think maybe 10 years ago it was way much more difficult, but
Definitely.
nowadays,
Now there's everything. Yeah, now
yeah.
there's so many like fake meats too. Like you hear of Impossible Meat and Beyond Meat, um, and all these, like in Burger King and Starbucks and Dunkin', they all have, you know, vegan meat now, which is crazy. Even just in the 2 years I've been vegan, I've seen so many changes already. There's so many great vegan ice creams too, that I know my brother particularly loves getting a vegan cookie and cream ice cream. That's his favorite. But it's been so incredible to see, you know, we aren't just eating vegetables all the time. There's vegan versions of everything.
Exactly. Yeah. And is your family vegan too?
My family, they're not completely vegan. I say mostly vegan. They haven't fully committed to being vegan yet, but they're definitely on the road to getting there. They definitely eat a lot of vegan foods. I'd say they're mostly vegan. We cook a lot in our family, like, and we eat a lot of the same meals. And because I'm vegan, we usually do a lot of vegan meals. My family is fully vegetarian. It's just they occasionally have dairy or eggs. That's their one weak spots, and I'm trying to get them to get rid of that, and they're getting there. They're moving a little slower than I was, but they're getting there, and I'm making sure I support them along the way.
Yeah, that's great. My family is also, um, it has been a little bit more difficult with my brother, but they're also getting there.
Yeah, my brother is kind of the same, and I think it's just because he's younger, he doesn't understand as much. And he used to always love like chicken nuggets and like going to Chick-fil-A and restaurants and getting like chicken nuggets and French fries. And I think he didn't fully understand the concept of like where the chicken nuggets come from. And so once we started explaining it more, he started getting it. But I think he still doesn't fully understand um, the the whole concept behind it.
How do you see the future of veganism?
Ooh, that's a great question. I definitely think a lot more people become vegan. I think as time goes on and more people just start learning more people will definitely at least shift into becoming more vegan, if not being fully vegan. I know just during with all the lockdowns, more people were spending the time to try new foods, educate themselves. There's so many great documentaries on veganism. So I know a lot of people started watching more documentaries on it. I definitely think that more and more people will shift to becoming vegan, and I think there'll be so many options everywhere you go, and there are so many already. But I think even more so, we'll see that almost anywhere you go, they'll have a whole menu of vegan options, not just, you know, one item, which is really exciting. I think more people creating a bigger demand for vegan products, we'll definitely see a lot of innovation and a lot more great food.
Yeah, yeah, let's hope for that. This is so interesting. I love to be talking to someone who understands what
Yeah,
veganism is.
I totally know how you feel.
So you were talking about tofu, and I listened a little bit about that story with your neighbor. So do you have a similar like a similar story with your friends or with someone that you told them like you're eating actual vegan food
Yeah,
and they didn't even realize?
I have so many. Definitely that story. I'll say it again because I'm not sure if he recorded it. But my neighbor came over, and he always talked about how he hated tofu, and we made a vegan mousse, and it was made of tofu. And so we had that for dessert, and he was eating it, and he was yet again talking about how much he hates tofu while eating the dessert and talking about how he loved the dessert. And so me and my mom were like, you're actually eating tofu. And it's like, what? No, I'm not. Like, this is delicious. And we're like, no, that's tofu. And I think people just have an idea of tofu is just, a little block on its own. And that's not really how most people eat tofu. But so that's always a fun story to share. My family in England, they were definitely just weren't super open to me being vegan. So I was definitely a new option. Like me going over there and showing the vegan food was very new to them. And I had I think it was my uncle, and he always talks about how much he loves me, and he used to like pick on me for being vegan, and we would just like joke about it. I wouldn't let it get to me. And we were out, I think, at a restaurant just getting burgers, and they actually had an Impossible Burger that I was eating. And he was joking around. He was like, actually, he asked if he can try a part of my burger. I was like, yeah, of course, go ahead. And he tried it. He was like, wow, this is really good. I was like, yeah, I told you. And he was like, okay, I might get that next time I'm here. And me and my mom were just laughing because he was always super macho about, like I always eat meat, I need my protein. And how vegan food tastes gross, and seeing at least the light in his eyes and seeing how he immediately changed his mind after that one bite, that was so funny.
Yeah, I love that burgers, and also the Beyond Meat is amazing.
They are.
Have you tried? I think it's from Dea, but it's a pizza. It's really really good.
I have. They are so good. I do. I get their pizzas every now and then from in the freezer and cook them because they are really good. I do love vegan pizza for sure.
Okay. Well, Hannah, it was such an honor and pleasure having you in this meeting, and thank you so much for your time, for all your experiences, and we hope to really soon make another Zoom meeting for.
Of course. And thank you for talking to me today. I had so much fun.
Yeah, me too. Thank you so much, and see you next time.
For sure.